Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, severe tropical storm Emong weakens over the Cordillera. However, most parts of Luzon still reeling from relentless rains this week. We get the latest from our reporters on the ground. The fallout from the non-stop rains evident up north as major roads in Baguio, including Kennon Road, are rendered impassable. Will they or won't they? Acting Davao Mayor Baste Duterte set some conditions of his own after PNP Chief Nicolas Torre suggested turning their fistfight into a charity boxing match. And we say goodbye to another legend. Hulk Hogan, one of pro wrestling's trailblazing and polarizing icons, has died. Tropical storm Emong may be losing strength, but the damage left behind by recent weather disturbances is devastating and far from over. The death toll from the ongoing onslaught has now risen to 25. So far, 3 fatalities have been confirmed, while 22 others are still under verification. The State Disaster Agency's latest update says 8 people are still missing and 8 others have been injured. Nationwide, more than 3.8 million people, or over 1 million families, have been affected by several days of heavy rains and flooding. Agricultural losses have climbed to over 648 million pesos, while damage to infrastructure has soared to more than 3.9 billion. As of today, the number of areas placed under a state of calamity has more than doubled, jumping from 40 to 84 cities and municipalities overnight. Stay with Billionaire News Channel for continuous coverage and real-time updates. The non-stop rains also causing landslides in Benguet, blocking major roads. Disaster authorities report Kennon Road was among the roads affected by the landslides, with debris blocking the way for motorists. They also say several homes were damaged in Outlook Drive in Baguio City, but authorities say locals there have been rescued. Emong may have weakened into a severe tropical storm, but most of the zone is still reeling from the relentless rains. Pag-asa weather specialist Charmaine Barilla now joins us for the latest. Hi Charmaine, nasaan na itong si Bagyong Emong?
Yes ma'am. Good morning po sa inyo at sa lahat nating mga tigapakinig at narito po ang ulat natin. Kanina nga po alas 10 ng umaga ay huling namataan po itong si Severe Tropical Storm Emong sa area po ng Kalanasan, Apayao. At meron pa rin po itong lakas ng hangin na maabot ng 95 km per hour malapit sa sentro nito at mga pagbugso ng hangin na maabot ng 160 km per hour. At patuloy pa rin po itong kumikilos pa north-northeastward sa bilis na 40 km per hour. Yung pinakamalalakas na hangin nga po nito ay nag-extend 200 km mula sa sentro nito. At base scenario po natin, maaaring na itong makalabas ng landmass natin ngayong hapon at dumaan mag-landfall or mag-close approach dito sa may islands ng mga Batanes at bago makalabas ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility, bukas po yan ng umaga. At nakaris po ang wind signal number 3 pa rin po natin dito sa may northeastern portion of Ilocos Norte, northern portion of Apayao, northwestern portion of mainland Cagayan. Signal number 2 naman sa iba pang bahagi ng Ilocos Norte, northern portion of Ilocos Sur, iba pang bahagi ng Apayao, northern portion of Abra, Batanes, northern at western portion of mainland Cagayan. At signal number 1 sa may iba pang bahagi ng Ilocos Sur, northern portion of La Union, iba pang bahagi ng Abra, northern portion of Benguet, Kalinga, Mountain Province, Ifugao, iba pang bahagi ng Cagayan, northern portions of Isabela. At bukod nga po sa mga hangin, ay asahan din natin ang mga malalakas na mga pag-ulan. At meron nga po tayo nakaris na yellow heavy rainfall warning dito sa may Metro Manila, Bataan, Rizal, Zambales, Batangas, Cavite, Bulacan, Pampanga. Kaya muli, pinag-iingat natin ating mga kababayan sa mga banta ng mga pag-ulan na maaaring magdulot ng pagbaha pa at pagguho ng lupa. At bukod po sa areas na may direktang epekto itong hangin mula sa bagyo, ay makararanas din ng mga hangin dito sa malalakas na mga hangin dito sa may iba pang bahagi ng Luzon, gayon din sa may northern at western sections ng Mindanao. at Visayas. Kaya muli, pinag-iingat pa rin natin ang ating mga kababayan sa mga malalakas na hangin dulot nitong habagat. At meron din po tayong katamtaman hanggang sa mataas na tsansa ng storm surge na maaaring umabot mula 1 hanggang 3 metros. Dito nga po yan sa mga coastal areas sa may Cagayan at Ilocos Region. Kaya mag-ingat din po ang ating mga kababayan sa mga banta ng storm surge. At may nakataas pa rin po tayong gale warning dito sa may seaboards ng Northern Luzon at Western seaboards ng Central at Southern Luzon. At ang ating pong mga ngisda at maliliit na sasakyang pandagat ay pinag-iingat din sa matataas na alon at kung maaari ipagbaliban muna ang paglalayag. At yung mga bagyo naman po sa labas ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility, itong si Tropical Storm Francisco na international name o yung dating si Dante ay hindi naman na po direct na nakaka-apekto sa alinang bahagi ng ating bansa. Gayon din naman po si Tropical Storm Crosa nandito sa may east 2,030 km east of southeastern Luzon. So habagat pa rin po yung nakaka-apekto dito sa may area ng Metro Manila at nagbibigay galing po dito sa Central at Southern Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao at nagbibigay ito ng mga pabugso-bugsong mga pag-ulan. At yan po muna mula sa Pag-asa Weather Forecasting Section, Charmaine Varilla, nag-uulat.
Charmaine, quick question lang, ano yung forecast para sa Lunes, sa Monday? Magiging maulan ba ang zona ni Pangulong Marcos?
Yes po ma'am, ina-expect natin na may mga pag-ulan pa rin po at magiging makulimlim ang panahon pero hindi na po kasing lakas na mga na-experience natin mga pag-ulan nito pong mga nakaraang araw.
Ito namang si Tropical Storm Crosa na nakita natin nasa labas pa ng PAR. Quick forecast lang, ano aasahan natin dito?
Ganun pa rin po, hindi pa rin siya papasok sa loob ng ating Philippine Area of Responsibility. Mababa pa rin po yung tsansa, ngunit maghahatak pa rin po ito ng habagat kaya na-expect natin next week meron pa rin pong mga pag-ulan.
Alright, maraming salamat Pag-asa Weather Specialist Charmaine Varilla. President Bongbong Marcos was in Quezon City this morning for the launch of a new PhilHealth program. Let's get more details from Pierre Pastor reporting to us live. Pierre, go ahead.
Yes, Mai. PhilHealth's Yakap ng Gobyerno o Yakap program was officially launched today with the attendance of President Bongbong Marcos here at the Gateway Mall. This Yakap ng Gobyerno or Yakap program is an enhanced or revitalized primary care program aiming to prevent diseases in Filipinos. This used to be Consulta program, and they say Consulta program was not as effective because people perceived it as just free consultation program. So there were less people who registered. But with Yakap ng Gobyerno, they involved more medical services, expanded packages, more consultations, check-up, more laboratory tests and medicines, and will also include cancer screenings. To register and avail of these benefits, we can download the eGov app or at www.philhealth.gov.ph or at any local PhilHealth office. The Yakap program was has accredited primary health providers all over the country where people can go to have themselves checked. The main purpose of this, of course, is for early detection and prevention of diseases. My PhilHealth and the government is also aiming to digitalize this program so that people can have easier and faster access of health services. Mai?
Thank you, Pierre Pastor reporting live from Quezon City. Floodwaters in Pasig City are receding, but that city remains on high alert due to continuous heavy rains. Joining us on the ground is Hannah T. Hannah, how's the situation there?
My floodwaters have started to subside in most areas here in Pasig City. We're here along an intersection in Urbano Velasco Avenue in Pinagbuhatan where residents are experiencing gutter deep floods since this morning. And as of 7 a.m., 13 evacuation centers remain open across 10 barangays, still sheltering over 800 families or more than 3,000 individuals. The city remains on alert because of heavy rainfall warnings and the critical rise of Laguna Lake, which exceeded the 12.5-meter threshold yesterday. If water levels rise again, river flooding may take longer to recede. Pasig City has begun road clearing and asphalt patching is expected to follow when the weather stabilizes. To respond to families who lost loved ones during the floods, the city government has allowed local civil registry staff to report for work yesterday to process death certificates. Mayor Vico Soto said this was in line with their commitment to provide uninterrupted public service despite the calamity. And areas in Pasig that used to flood after just a few minutes of rain, like those near East Santos and Palatio, are now staying dry even during heavy downpours. Market porters who once had to turn their carts into makeshift boats to earn a sideline are now relieved. Residents say they no longer worry about instant flooding when it rains, and they credit this to what they call consistent and effective service from the city government during calamities. Mai?
Hannah, I know the decision of the Pasig LGU to open the local civil registry despite the work suspension was highly praised. Tuloy-tuloy talaga ang serbisyo dyan. Because of this decision by Mayor Vico. Tell us ano pa yung damage assessment, and were there any casualties in the city?
So far, no casualties are reported here in Pasig City. And in fact, ma-share ko lang, no, sabi nga ng Pasig City LGU, it's actually the staff themselves who volunteered to report for work because they saw the need to assist bereaved families immediately. And so far, we've yet to talk to the DRRM chief here in Pasig City para makapagbahagi siya nung ilang issues na kinaharap ng Pasig City ngayong taon sa panahon ng kalamidad. Pero so far, coming from the residents, tumagal naman ng 2 to 3 days lang yung baha dito sa Pasig City. And in fact, ito yata yung pinaka, so far from them, ito po ang pinakamabilis na panahon na pag-subside ng baha dito sa kanilang syudad. Back to you, Mai.
Alright, maraming salamat. Hannah T reporting live from Pasig City. Netizens are buzzing over what could be another thriller in the boxing ring as the verbal sparring continues between acting Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte and PNP Chief Nicolas Torre. But Francis Folve asks, are we going to see Baste and Torre actually duke it out?
Like a scene straight out of the Rocky films, Philippine National Police Chief Nicolas Torre went jogging in the rain at the PNP Oval Friday morning. PNP spokesperson Jean Pajardo says the Chief PNP started running around 6:20 and completed 10 rounds. He was completely soaked because of the heavy rain. Pajardo added this is a part of Torre's training for the much-anticipated charity boxing match against Davao City Acting Mayor Sebastian Baste Duterte. Yesterday, Torre trained at the PNP boxing gym, which is very much familiar to him. After all, he was a member of the PNPA Boxing Corps.
Mahina na nga ako eh. Pero marami nagka-interest sa larong ito. Kaya just to give them an entertainment, medyo para we can have a sort of credibility in showing up. Nag-refresh tayo ng konti sa ating mga dating ginagawa. So mapansin nyo, matanda na tayo at sabi nga ng trainer ko, mahina na nga ang hangin eh. Kaya wala nang diin ng mga suntok. Kaya I really hope na matuloy ito para makita naman nila na we're serious in this dahil sa ating fundraising ito. At ito ay para naman sa mga typhoon and flood victims.
A reel on Facebook was posted by Vice President Sara Duterte supporters, showing Baste working the pads with his coach. He also responded to Torre's speech in a post in his channel.
Huwag ka mag-alala, Torre, kasi matagal ko na talaga gusto makabugbog ng unggoy. Kung gusto mo lang talaga ng suntukan, bakit kailangan mo pa ng charity? Why do you need kailangan mo pang gamitin yung nangyayari ngayon na baha dyan sa Metro Manila? If you're really serious about this, kung gusto mo yung charity na yan and you've laid some conditions, then let me lay my own conditions for the event. Kung serious ka talaga ha, These are my conditions. Pakiusapan mo yung amo mo na presidente and let it come out of his mouth that all elected officials should undergo a hair follicle drug test. Papalagan ko yung charity mo na yan. Walang problema. If it will answer the issues nitong bansa natin, I can do that.
Torre has yet to give a statement on these conditions. He earlier suggested getting Boxing Hall of Famer Manny Pacquiao as the referee. But if the sport's only 8-division world champion is not available, it appears there are more willing volunteers.
Kung sakaling matuloy ang exhibition match na charity boxing fight ni General Torre at ni Baste, ay nagvo-volunteer ako na maging referee because I am worried that General Torre might inflict a catastrophic injury.
If you think about it, it's not new for a Duterte to challenge someone to a duel. In 2003, the then-sitting mayor of Davao City, FPRRD, challenged a veteran journalist, Waldy Carbonell, to a gunfight. This was because Carbonell was investigating the killing of a Davao City-based journalist. He accepted the challenge, but FPRRD never showed up. Fast forward a year later, Carbonell was the one who challenged Baste to a gun duel after being offended by Baste's threat to pulverize Ilocos Norte. He even set a time and place, November 10, 2024, 9 a.m. at Luneta. But again, no show for the younger Baste Duterte. With this new exchange of challenges, tagged as a boxing match for a cause between Torre and Baste, the public asks, will the fight push through? Francis Polbe, Bellionario News Channel.
Another massive loss in pop culture this week. Pro wrestling icon Hulk Hogan has died. He was 71. Wrestling promotion WWE confirms Hogan's passing on Thursday. He was pronounced dead after being taken to a hospital following a police response to a medical call for cardiac arrest. The Immortal became the face of professional following his vocal support for Donald Trump and the leak of a video where he used a racial slur. Hulkamania running wild on social media one last time as pro wrestling and Hollywood icons pay tribute to Hulk Hogan. Wrestling Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin said Hogan was born to be a professional wrestler. Austin adds Hogan's contributions are immense and his influence will be forever felt. Hollywood superstar Sylvester Stallone, the mastermind behind the Rocky film, says Hogan was absolutely wonderful and made the third film incredibly special. And WWE Hall of Famer The Undertaker says the wrestling world has lost a true legend. He adds Hogan's contributions to the business are immeasurable, and for that, he is appreciative. Another blow for the world of music. Two-time Grammy-winning jazz musician Chuck Mangione has died. He was 84. The prolific musician and composer passed away in his sleep Tuesday at his home in Rochester, New York. Mangione was behind the 70s crossover hit Feel So Good. His musical career spanned 5 decades and 30 albums. He also got a second wind in the 90s, most notably in The King of the Hill, where he played himself in the Fox TV cartoon show. More updates from our reporters on the ground as the country reels from nonstop rains all week long. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns. You're back in Newsfeed at Noon. A dike portion damaged in Lubao, Pampanga is raising fears of major flooding. Paulo Barcelon is on the ground to give us an update. Paulo, what's the current status of the dike there and how are local authorities responding to prevent further damage?
Well, Mai, good afternoon to you. The weather has cleared up a little bit here in the town of Lubao in Pampanga, but several areas are still experiencing floods. Now, to your question on the status of the construction, as you can see behind me, take a look. There are a lot of construction personnel working now to try and build what appears to be a temporary wall to try and at least prevent floodwaters from going into these communities. Our live point is currently at the site that actually collapsed due to several days of rain. Pampanga Governor Lilia Pineda has already ordered the construction of temporary protective barriers to prevent flooding while pushing for a more sustainable and long-term solution to prevent massive floods from inundating entire communities. Local authorities, Maya, are now closely monitoring water levels at the Santo Cristo Dam, which is just right behind us. And according to the provincial government's latest report, Lubao has the most areas affected by storm effects in the province, with at least 38 barangays affected by floodwaters and close to 90,000 people at risk. Flooding here in Lubao is currently at 1 to 4 feet on average, and some residents, Mai, are still waiting in floodwaters as the weather clears up. Now, Pampanga is currently under a state of calamity and relief operations are underway in affected areas. We also have data, Mai, already on the initial damage estimates. That's 660 or close to 660 million pesos worth of crops, and over 407 million pesos worth of infrastructure so far had been reported damaged by the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. These figures are expected to change as more reports come in. Mai?
Paulo, have there been any confirmed casualties due to the flooding?
Right now, Mai, we're still waiting on reports from the PDRMO on reports of casualties. But so far, at least the weather's clearing up and we're still waiting on word whether or not there were any casualties due to the several days brought about, of floods rather, brought about by typhoons and the southwest monsoon, Mai.
All right, thank you, Paulo, and stay safe there. Paulo Barcelon, live from Lubao, Pampanga. The country continues to reel from the wrath of storms and the monsoon. Laguna de Bay has overflowed due to the non-stop rains in Luzon all week long. Let's go to Joan Manalo, reporting live from Laguna. Joan, how are things there?
Some parts of Santa Cruz, Laguna remain submerged in floodwaters following intense rains from the typhoons that have come in the Philippines and the southwest monsoon or habagat. Low-lying areas near Laguna de Bay are also flooded as the lake's water level continued to rise. Based on the latest updates from the Laguna Lake Development Authority, water levels have reached 12.62 meters, surpassing the critical high threshold of 12.50 meters. The LLDA adds that the risk of prolonged flooding and widespread damage remains high, particularly in low-lying and lakeshore communities. This after Pag-asa forecasts that the rainfall will persist in the coming days. The LLDA says numerous families have already been evacuated by concerned local government units, and they also urged residents in vulnerable areas to stay vigilant, prepare for possible evacuation, and take necessary precautions. The public is also strongly advised to avoid non-essential activities near or on the lake, including fishing and boating, as water conditions may remain unstable and hazardous. The LLDA remains on elevated alert status and continues its 24/7 monitoring of the lake. Meanwhile, the local government of Santa Cruz, Laguna reported that 18 evacuation centers remain open for people or residents that are in need of help or shelter. In its latest update, over 75 families or 2,500 individuals have sought shelter in evacuation centers. Mai.
Thank you, Joan Manalo, reporting live from Laguna. Conditions in Las Piñas slowly but surely improving following the rains caused by recent storms and the habagat. Andrea Salve is joining us live now. Go ahead, Andrea.
As the city of Las Piñas experiences better weather conditions from it last night, more roads are now completely free from flood waters, easing trips for residents and motorists. As of 9:50 this morning, the following areas are currently passable for all types of vehicles. Zapote Junction, Alabang Zapote Road, Aria Street, Film Life Village, Santa Cecilia Village, Diego Serra Avenue, Tramo Road, Naga Road, Longos going to Las Piñas and Tuazon Village. The city government, however, emphasized that the list is subject to changes depending on how the weather will pan out through the day. My Metro Manila remains under yellow warning level, and despite the sun peaking, gray clouds still continue to loom the city, which means we're not out of the woods yet. That is why we continue to remind residents and motorists to stay alert and be prepared for possible sudden downpours in the next hours. Mai?
Thank you, Andrea Salve, reporting to us live. A new documentary titled Food Delivery is making waves, boldly tackling territorial tensions in the West Philippine Sea. The film was meant to spark dialogue, but efforts by China to block its screening have only strengthened the filmmakers' resolve. Speaking to Billionaire News Channel's Beautiful Day, film director Baby Ruth Villarama said, instead of backing down, the censorship only pushed them to go even further with the film's message.
Thanks for the pressure, it catapulted us to be braver. So, the original cut was really for cultural exchange, to really appeal to the soft power of China. But after what happened, I said no. I'm an artist, I'm a film director, I'm a storyteller, I'm a journalist. This film is not inciting anything, but this film is really an invitation for everyone, not just for Filipinos, but for Chinese and any other nationals who understand the importance of territorial domain, sovereignty, and we want to really bring it closer to home, boundaries.
What happens when an iconic line in Philippine cinema gets a Hollywood twist? Content creator and sportscaster Bea Fabregas Ramos put that to the test during a press junket for Fantastic Four: The First Steps. She asked the film stars Julia Garner, who plays the Silver Surfer, and Ralph Ineson as Galactus to deliver the immortal line of the late, great Cherry Hill from the classic movie Bituing Walang Ningning. Take a look.
But a second-rate, trying hard copycat. So good. That was...
You're nothing but a second-rate, try-hard copycat.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic Four: The First Steps is now showing in local cinemas. That was iconic, by the way. And still on Fantastic Four, a colossal popcorn bucket shaped like the planet-devouring villain Galactus is unveiled in LA. It can hold 10 liters of popcorn, enough to satisfy even Galactus's cosmic appetite.
I think these buckets are fantastic. I think the idea that the studios are doing this to get people back in the theaters is really cool. I obviously wouldn't have got this if I didn't come to the theaters, and I think it's designed very well, and it's got a lot of popcorn, so cool.
Stay tuned to the Billionaire News Channel and follow our social media platforms for updates on the weather and flood advisories throughout the day. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Stay safe and happy weekend.